Hello and welcome to EV Loop, powered by Carloop. I'm Adrian Maidment.
And I'm Akhtar, your host.
This episode we're covering electric Ute. Tesla goes bigger, but is it better? And what's Riz been driving recently? Hello Riz.
Hey Adrian, good to be on. The second week in a row since we had a bit of a break.
We had our siesta break, yes, and we got some nice comments, some good thank you. So that was good to get some comments on the YouTube page. And if you've got any questions or queries, let us know in the comments section of the EV Loop YouTube.
Love hearing from you.
We love hearing from you. A few things to talk about today, and I'd like to start in New Zealand for a change.
Ooh.
We've had quite a busy week in New Zealand, EV related, and one of the biggest stories was that the Radar Ute, the RD6 Pro, has been unveiled. It's known as the Radar in China, and that's been officially released in New Zealand, and it's a full EV Ute, and it's got some good stats, and it's in the market to target the BYD Shark. It's priced at the same starting price of $69,990. It's built on Geely's SEA, the Sustainable Experience Architecture, which many of their passenger vehicles, such as from the Zeekr, Polestar, and Volvo range, are on. But it does say, this is 100% Ute. Some features include...
Should we just go big, Adrian? Should we just talk about the biggest headline around this Ute? 3 tons of towing. 3 tons of towing. Now that is on par with quite a lot of petrol and diesel Utes mainly, and it's more than the BYD Shark 6.
Yeah, you could have dropped 3 tons of towing. You could have gone down a tone there, but yes, it is more towing than the Shark. And the speed is 0 to 4.5 seconds.
Quicker.
And it's also a September 15 into the dealerships. Expected delivery in the end of October. That's New Zealand. Australia, I wasn't quite so sure what's happening there, Riz.
Yeah, so that's been a bit of an interesting one. We do not know yet what is happening in the Australian market with this Geely Ute. I first started sort of talking about it, covering it on The Driven and other publications maybe about 3 years ago. And since then, there was some hope that it was going to come to right-hand drive markets, which it did in Thailand and Singapore, and now, of course, in New Zealand. Here in Australia, Geely, of course, launched here in March this year with the EX5. Since then, they have just announced a potential plug-in hybrid SUV coming, but no mention of the Radar RD6. But it's really good to see that it's heading over to New Zealand at that price point with a reasonable amount of tech, lots of vehicle-to-load ports, so you could get up to 6 kilowatt of power out of the battery, including that in the bed of the truck or the Ute. And yeah, it's quite interesting with the amount of tech that is coming in at the price point, which is, as you said, on par with the BYD Shark 6.
And while I'm in New Zealand and talking about New Zealand, I'd also like to mention just one other sort of bit that's a little bit different. It's that the Giltrap Group in New Zealand, which is New Zealand's largest independent new vehicle importer, they're uniting the Geely brands under one umbrella: the Polestar, Volvo, Lotus, Geely, Zeekr, and the commercial Verizon brand. They're putting them all under one company and they're going to call it NordEast, and they're all going to be sort of an umbrella, a little bit different. And apparently that's a world first. And I've got a quote. This is the PR release. "We believe this is a once-in-a-generation moment for New Zealand motoring." That was Michael Giltrap at the Auckland launch event, which I, of course, was not at. So that's just something a little bit different. Probably, I'm going to sort of kind of a bit of an iconic moment of sort of the Chinese brands coming in and lifting their profile.
They are. And it's all sort of pretty quickly, right? They're sort of coming. Polestar was one of the first ones. Of course, Volvo's been around for so long. And now you've got, Geely, you mentioned Verizon. So it just creates, I guess, a vehicle in itself to try and get more of these electric and new energy vehicles out there.
That's all I've got. That's New Zealand. That was an exciting week in New Zealand.
Ooh.
But we'll get back to Australia, though. What have you been driving, Riz? What have you been out and about in this week?
So last week or so, I was in the MG4, one of the original electric hatchbacks that was released back in 2023. Still a very, very fun car in this base model, which I think at one stage got as sort of pretty close to 30,990 drive away last year in Australia. The price has since, of course, gone up. But yeah, quite a fun car. Good electric sort of motoring. If you're just using it as a car as a run around, driving to work and back and on the weekends, it ticks all the boxes at, sort of that mid 30,000 price point. So that's what I've been in now, and coming up in the next week or so, I'll be, I think, test driving still a sort of a small car, a little bit bigger and a little bit pricier, the Audi Q4 e-tron. So we'll have a lot more to share about what that car is like. But yeah, just coming out of an MG4 at the moment.
And that MG4, the new model, looks quite different, doesn't it? It's sort of been more sort of smoothed out a bit. So I think in the future that could become quite an iconic. The original MG4 could become quite sort of an iconic EV vehicle.
I think that's where it's heading. So they'll try and keep the rear-wheel drive version as a separate car to the front-wheel drive, which is the new one that is a little bit more, let's just say, rounded. Keeps some of the MG cues, but at the same time will be front-wheel drive and will be a bit more affordable than the current model.
Okay, and let's move on to Tesla. Huge news of Tesla. I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with this, Riz.
It's a big news because
it's that tick, 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 tick,
which is
the indicator stalk on the Tesla Model 3.
Look, there's been multiple big news from Tesla this week, but yes,
this is the biggest story.
This is big. So yes, the Model 3 is in China, is getting its stalk back. The indicator stalk has made a return after it was famously removed, and some may say caused a bit of an uproar. But all the people that I know that have the Model 3 without a stalk actually don't want the stalk back.
Oh, really? Really?
But new buyers and new owners may. So Tesla has gone back to the stalk, and just as they did, they bought it back they had it in the new Model Y as well. So they kept that, and I think that's what they will be doing on the Model 3. Now, the other thing is for owners in China that had their car produced after February, will be able to purchase a retrofit and get it installed at their Tesla service center. Given that this stalk is making a comeback in the Model 3 in China, it's probably going to be coming to Australia and New Zealand as well in the coming months. So let's watch this space. Tesla got rid of quite a lot, but they're now putting it back in, I think, generally to try and get new buyers who are used to a stalk from their current ICE or electric vehicle.
Okay. And in other Tesla news, they've got the new bigger cars out. The bigger, we're talking bigger.
Yeah, so the big 6-seater is out in China. It's heading to showrooms. Test drives are going to they'll be beginning very shortly. First customer deliveries will start in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And now Tesla's going into that 6-seater market, but not 6 seats as the big Model X with the gullwing doors, which was quite expensive, but it's the Model Y. Now there's a little bit of controversy there because they call it the Model Y L, the 6-seater. They made a few changes to it, made it, more comfort features. It even has retractable sort of armrests in the second row. So quite a few different changes that they made to that car. It's got the new suspension that is going to make it a little bit more easier on the road from the Model 3 Performance, the first Model Y variant to have that. But the controversy came when Tesla CEO Elon Musk took to X when somebody said, hey, when are we going to get this in the US? And he basically said, maybe next year, if it's even going to come.
I read that this morning. I read that quote this morning.
So yeah, that's where they're sort of heading with this now. So quite interesting. I guess given Australia and New Zealand markets get their cars out of the Shanghai factory, it is a potential possibility that we may get this model. But it really depends on how big the market is. I'm not sure how many people are really in the 6 or 7-seater space that are looking at getting an EV. But if it does come, it will be priced probably 10% more than the long-range Model Y today. The long-range Model Y is, in its sort of 70,000 sort of space in Australia. So expect this to be around $75,000 to $80,000 if it ever comes into the Australian and New Zealand market.
I also read they're putting in China DeepSeek's going in there as well.
Yeah, AI is all the buzz. And given what we know in the US, Tesla is implementing Grok to make it easier for voice recognition and other AI agent features. But over sort of in the Chinese market, Grok is not going there, but DeepSeek is, who is, I guess that large language model is probably a lot better at understanding voice recognition functionality for the Chinese market. So Tesla is really implementing what's right for that very large and very tech-driven market who are demanding good voice recognition systems to be implemented, hence DeepSeek.
See how that goes. And back to Australia, I've got some pricing information for the new updated Polestar 2, the 2026 version Polestar 2 sedan. I think the price is staying about the same, Riz.
Yeah, so roughly the same price. I mean, that car, was first sort of released in the Australian market back in 2022-ish. And it's had a few iterations. It went from, the base model went from a front-wheel drive to a rear-wheel drive. They've had all-wheel drives in there. Its sales have been, surprisingly stable. And now they're bringing in the 2026 variant or the version of that car, keeping the price the same. But I think what I'm quite interested in is the entry level now comes with a new battery. It's a 70 kilowatt hour battery pack that is supplied by CATL, the world's biggest battery maker. And the range has improved slightly on that because of that slightly extra capacity. But exciting for those people that, may want the car and do a bit of road tripping with it. The charging speeds have gone up from 135 kilowatt DC charging to, I think it was close to 180 kilowatts, which is, a big jump. So it will charge faster, it will cost the same, and I guess people will be quite excited to see it. What obviously the new model doesn't have is the pretty aggressive pricing that was being handed out for the run-out stock for the previous model. I think, prices were sort of even got as low as mid-55,000s compared to 64,000 plus on-roads, which is what the new model will have. Yeah, interesting to see. I know Polestar as a brand has now got 3 models, the Polestar 2, the 3, and the 4. There is a 5 in the works that might be launching sometime next year. At the moment, Polestar 2 2026 version will be the latest Polestar that people can buy.
With a WLTP range of 554 kilometers. Yep, so that's good. And I guess we'll cover off chart of the week, Riz. Have you got a chart for chart of the week?
Yeah, so for chart of the week, we are approaching very close to 300,000 vehicles when it comes to, the total number of battery electric vehicles on our roads. And that is going to be ramping up a little bit as there is more price cuts, more new models entering the market, such as the Zeekr 7X that we spoke about. But, there's the Deep Helio 7 coming out. There is a Nissan Ariya coming out. There is just, a myriad of models that are going to be launching in the coming months. And so we're going to see, it will be hopefully becomes a pretty normal thing for us to have 8 to 10,000 battery electric vehicles every month moving forward. So it's, we can sort of see the early signs of that happening. We saw that in June. July was a little bit of a dip, but moving forward, I think we're going to see that trend sort of spiral up a bit. So expect to see 8 to 10,000 electric vehicles added to the fleet every month, which I think over the next 12 months will probably end up getting to another 150,000 cars added to the total fleet that are purely battery electric. So basically we're going to go from 300,000 battery electric vehicles to 450,000 battery electric vehicles by about Q4 in 2026.
So we probably need a few more charges.
Heaps more charges are needed. If you're a charging company, you're out there, keep building more. We need to make EV charging great again.
Let's just put it on a cap. And moving on, some of those, if you are looking for an EV, there's the events. We mentioned these last week, some of the events coming up. We've got the Sydney International EV Show, 31st of October to 2nd of November.
That's it.
That's in Sydney. There's the Everything Electric at the Melbourne Showgrounds, November 14 to 16.
They are pretty big shows coming up for any energy nerds, energy enthusiasts, solar, green power, seeing some of those new trends. There is also All Energy that is happening, I believe, in October. So, that's going to be a big show. I'll be there as always. Come and say hi. I'm likely to be at all of these 3 shows. So we've got, 2 in Melbourne. And then we have, of course, the Sydney EV show in late October, early November in Sydney itself. Lots for people to be able to see. So all those new models we're talking about are going to be appearing at these shows. So let's watch this space.
Okay, and any sort of thoughts for the week ahead, Riz?
Yeah, look, I'm quite interested to see what the Audi Q4 e-tron's like. It'll be the first sort of electric Audi I've driven, and obviously, the way the market is shifting, the focus is more and more on the Chinese brands. I think affordable EV models, we are starting to see more specials and offers on those. And then obviously in all of that is the used EV market, which is starting to flourish a little bit with more used stock coming in. We have awesome things like battery health testing coming in as well, which makes it easier for someone buying a used EV to know what is what's the battery health? Is it 80%? Is it 90%? Just gives you that extra confidence to say you can buy an EV and still know that it will last you many, many years to come, even if it is used electric car. So lots of trends. We need way more chargers. And yeah, look forward to any comments, any questions you might have around the industry, around what's going on. Leave them in the comment section below. And any suggestions. We'll look forward to hearing from you.
Next week, we'll maybe see where we're at it with the rucks again. Probably there'll be a bit of an update there. Probably due for an update.
Yeah, a little bit more sort of happening in the road user charge space. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting couple of months ahead before we finish up 2025.
Okay, Riz, thank you very much. And we'll talk next week.
See you all next time.